Welcome back to the Rush Hour. ABC last night suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live after comments that the comedian had made about Charlie Kirk's killing. This comes as writers from The Atlantic are preparing for a weekend of conversations about really the state of the world and the role of journalism, among other topics. So joining me now to talk about this, two Atlantic staff writers who are hosting panel discussions at the festival, Ashley Parker as well as Jonathan Lemire. Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Let's start with that news of the day. Ashley, I'll ask you first. What was your reaction when you saw that Kimmel was having his show pulled?
I mean, it struck me, you've seen some of these major news organizations start to cave to the Trump administration. And oftentimes it seems that the crime that has allegedly been committed, that is not the actual reason. It has to do with a broader merger they want to go through, or they're worried about the wrath of the FCC. And I do think it is having a chilling effect.
Yeah, and you're talking about the merger of two major local news operators. Do you see this really sort of as a quid pro quo to get that deal greenlit? The FCC needs to approve it.
I mean, I think it is very clear when you have the chairman of the FCC going out and basically saying we are going to use this organization to target media organizations where we don't like what they're saying, that's a pretty deliberate message being sent.
Jonathan, so you're talking about FCC Chairman Brendan Carr.
Yes.
He did say that what Jimmy Kimmel had said on Monday regarding the killing of Charlie Kirk, he said that those remarks were a concerted effort to lie to the American people. ABC has a license from the FCC to broadcast. What I'm wondering, obviously Kimmel's a comedian, but did it violate the broadcast standards that they operate under?
Well, Carr said yesterday in a podcast episode just before the Kimmel news came down, basically it was clearly a threat to ABC. He said we could do this the easy way or the hard way. And we have seen this as part of what seems to be a pretty systemic move by the Trump administration to use the powers of government, the levers of power, to pressure what they perceive to be their political foes. And in this case, that's a comedian who it is free speech. We've heard from the Attorney General this week also suggests that free speech would be at risk. And we know the definition of, if you're using free speech to incite violence, that's one thing. Jimmy Kimmel, it was perhaps an ill-advised remark, a joke that didn't land, whatever it might be. But this is a new place for presidential power.
Yeah, I was reading this article in the New York Times, or an opinion piece by David French, and he opened up basically by saying that it's hard to grasp the magnitude of the emerging threat to free speech in the United States. Do you both see it that way?
Well, I'll just say all this is coming in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and there's a certain irony here, right? That Charlie Kirk said a lot of things that were abhorrent to a lot of people, not all people. He was controversial, he was divisive, but he believed in his right to say what he believed, and that was protected. And so you are seeing, what's interesting is you are seeing a little splintering even among conservatives who are saying, this isn't what we've fought for. Not many conservatives, to be clear, but sort of like a pure, true strain of conservative is defending the right of free speech.
And just a few years ago, when Donald Trump was out of power, Brendan Carr defended this sort of very behavior. There's a number of tweets he put up in 2021, 2022, defending the right of comedians to say something akin to this. So this is. It also comes, we should note, just a couple days after Donald Trump files lawsuit against the New York Times and some individual reporters.
Well, I was just going to bring that up. And obviously we know that ABC and CBS have both settled with Trump for multiple millions of dollars. In fact, I asked Nick Thompson, the CEO of The Atlantic, he was here last week, and I asked him how The Atlantic navigates really the pressures that the Trump administration is putting on journalists and this threat of litigation from the Trump administration. This is what he had to say.
Our job is to tell the truth, right? And to tell it as accurately as possible, from as many different angles. And every time we have a story, if we have a story critical of the administration, as we did with the Signalgate story, which of course is the most well-known example this year, we call the administration and we say, we have this story. Are any of our facts wrong? We'd like to confirm it. We have to check it. We've redacted information that we think is in the interest of American national security. We do everything by the book.
Have either of you faced pressures from the administration in your reporting? Talk about whether you're walking a finer line these days or a high wire act with your journalism.
So the administration has certainly been unhappy with our reporting and displeased, and they make that clear. They've done that since the first term. But since the first terms, whoever I cover, whether it's the Trump administration or the Biden administration, or wherever I've worked, at the New York Times, at the Washington Post, now at the Atlantic, it's the same thing. What Nick said is true. Any story either of us writes, we reach out to whoever it's about, not just for comment, but to walk them through the entire story. There will be nothing, they may not like it, but there will be nothing surprising in there. They will have the opportunity to add nuance and context and push back. And if we are wrong about something, we will go back and re-report and change our facts to be as fair, as accurate as possible.
Yeah, that's us holding up our end of the bargain, is that we will do it as rigorously as we can. We will fact check it. We understand you might get the angry email, you might get the angry phone call. Occasionally you get the angry post from Donald Trump himself on
Correct.
social media. But what we've seen here is a little different, using the power of the government or perhaps a very expensive lawsuit to try to intimidate, to try to force reporters into silence. That's a new place for all of us here.
And is that something you're going to be touching on just in our final seconds in your Atlantic's Festival talks tomorrow?
Undoubtedly. We're on a panel tomorrow.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Yeah, we're on a panel Friday afternoon here in New York. Please come. And the thrust of it is covering this administration. This is obviously a new place for the press and our democracy, and that includes the challenges we face.
This administration in this particular moment.
And it will be a fascinating conversation at that. Thank you both so much for coming in, Jonathan Lemire and Ashley Parker. And by the way, that conversation tomorrow at the Perlman Center. You can get tickets and more information on the Atlantic's website.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.